Ole Miss students, you better check your email to see if you are one of the 500 selected for tuberculosis testing.
Lauren Layton gives the update coming up.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Alexandra Morris.
And I'm Matthew Hindley.
A case of active tuberculosis disease has sent a shockwave through the Ole Miss campus.
Lauren Layton spoke to some people impacted by the announcement.
The entire campus received an alert about the active TB case, but only about 500 people received the email that they could have possibly been exposed to the disease.
Obviously, I was a little upset. Angry would be a good word.
Student Merritt Belk was one of 500 people who received news that she may have come in contact with a student suffering from active tuberculosis disease.
On here it says that if you've been infected by this active tuberculosis case, you will not be contagious.
What if one of us got it from this one person, and then we could have exposed, like, my boyfriend, my little brother, my niece who's like 2 years old.
But Director of Student Health Dr. Travis Yates says there's little need for Belk to worry about affecting her loved ones.
You're not infectious unless you have tuberculosis disease, the actual disease itself, okay? If you just have a TB infection, you are not at risk, you're not contagious to another person at all.
Even though the infection is not contagious, if she begins experiencing symptoms,
the fevers, the night sweats, the weight loss, the cough, coughing up blood,
then the case may have evolved from TB infection into active TB disease. But the health center is making sure that doesn't happen. They'll test the blood of the group of 500 later this week to see if they contracted the infection.
The blood test is straightforward. It's just a single stick and you're done.
But not all students
honestly,
are sold on the plan.
I think that's why it shouldn't just be, let's test people who it could have potentially reached. It should be going beyond that of, let's take the time to make sure everybody's safe.
Belk says she's just anxious to find out more.
I mean, I'm going to get tested. Might as well. I feel like they're going to take precautions to let us do that and give us that outlet. Might as well take advantage of it, because if I do carry it, then I would want to know.
The health center has been working closely with the State Department of Health for the past 2 weeks to make sure anyone who is potentially exposed will be offered a TB test. He also told me the student with active TB has not been back to campus since his diagnosis.
Thanks, Lauren. Today, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation issued a silver alert for New Albany resident James H. Riddle. Riddle suffers from a medical condition that may impair his judgment. Riddle was last seen Monday wearing a red sweater, black pants, and black slippers. Authorities said he was seen driving a gray Lincoln Town car. His license plate number is UND 308. The New Albany Police Department is asking anyone with information to contact 662-534-2222.
University students and faculty teamed up with Marshall County inmates yesterday to pack more than 100,000 meals for an organization that helps needy children. The organization Feed My Starving Children is a Christian nonprofit working to eliminate starvation and hunger worldwide. The idea for the project got its start through a restorative justice course taught by an Ole Miss Legal Studies faculty member. The project was a huge success, and the group was able to pack enough meals to feed 277 children every day for an entire year.
Oxford, Mississippi has the meats. Look out, Oxford, Arby's is here. The new fast food restaurant is located near Home Depot and will be ready to serve you this Thursday. We will keep you updated about any further updates to the new chain here in Oxford.
Musicians in North Mississippi will get to connect with the Memphis music scene in Oxford tonight, courtesy of the Big Bad Business Series. Fenton Wright of the consortium Memphis Music Town is set to speak about entrepreneurship and music at the Powerhouse Community Arts Center. The Big Bad Business Series aims to touch different segments of the creative community, and Wright aims to push musicians to master both music and small business. Now, the workshop begins tonight at 6 p.m. And if you're interested, you can register at oxfordarts.com.
A new pop-up project has been installed on Gertrude Ford Boulevard. It attempts to ensure road safety and to make the road more accessible to all types of transportation. The University of Mississippi Active Transportation Advisory Committee and Oxford Pathways Commission and UM Green Fund Committee have temporarily made a sectioned-off bike path on the road. It could become permanent, but committee members are going to continue collecting speed data and community feedback to determine a final decision. Bernard Observatory lately, you've probably seen the Striking Voices exhibit.
Brianna Bynum joins us with more. Brianna?
Thanks, guys. Striking Voices is a multimedia project centered around the Memphis sanitation workers that went on strike in the 1960s, and a part of this project has been on display since the end of March for the Ole Miss community to see. Last week, many gathered in Memphis to recognize 50 years since the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., and there's an exhibit on campus showcasing the lives that brought King to Memphis that day.
We really don't focus on Martin Luther King. We figured that a lot of other people will do that, and maybe better than we could. But what we could really do is focus on the men and their wives and their children and make sure that that story is centered and make sure that they get to be an authority on their own lives instead of sort of a chapter in somebody else's story.
Memphis sanitation workers went on strike in 1968, and Striking Voices features over 30 of these workers and their families through interviews and photos.
When you're looking at the photos, it's almost like standing there talking to another person, not just looking at a photo. I wanted to make them personal so that you'd want to know more about their story.
Through Striking Voices, Yellen wants people to know more about the sanitation workers, a group of people she feels has been in the background of the civil rights movement.
That's really what this is about, is giving voice to people who have often not been heard.
The workers that Striking Voices features provide an intimate view of what happened during the 1968 strike, and Yellen considers these workers as an important part of the civil rights movement.
They're often called foot soldiers, but I prefer to say they were really the centerpiece of the civil rights movement.
There is a closing reception going on now in Barnard Observatory, so when the show is over, head there now to learn more about Striking Voices. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brianna. Coming up, find out who is not invited to the next British royal wedding.
But first, Delia Vandeveld has your first look at the current conditions.
Hey there, Oxford, and happy Tuesday. It has been a gorgeous, sunny, and warm day, and we can expect to see some warmer temperatures ahead. However, that will bring some high humidity, and unfortunately, there does look like there's going to be some thunderstorms this weekend. As we take a look at the current radar, you can see that it is clear in Oxford and the surrounding areas. Stay tuned later for a full report coming up on Stormwatch.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Yes, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Monday morning's press conference with President Trump was supposed to highlight his efforts to determine a U.S. response to a suspected chemical gas attack in Syria. However, the event took a sharp turn when President Trump slammed the FBI raid of his personal lawyer.
And it's a disgrace. It's frankly a real disgrace. It's an attack on our country in a true sense.
President Trump launching a lengthy tirade against special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation after the FBI raided the office of his longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen.
So I just heard that they broke into the office of one of my personal attorneys, good man, and it's a disgraceful situation. It's a total witch hunt.
Flanked by a room full of stern-faced military officials, President Trump falsely claiming the lawful raid was a break-in and attempting to undermine the credibility of Mueller's team, who Cohen's lawyer says referred the case to New York prosecutors.
This is the most biased group of people. These people have the biggest conflicts of interest I've ever seen.
The Justice Department is run by his people. The special counsel was appointed by his people. This U.S. attorney is his person, who I'm told he actually met with before appointing him to the position.
A source tells CNN that approximately a dozen agents carried out Monday's raid on Cohen's office and the New York City hotel where he was staying. Multiple newspapers reporting that Cohen's home was also searched. Sources say that using a broad search warrant, authorities seized bank records and information related to adult film star Stormy Daniels, who Cohen paid $130,000 days before the election in an apparent attempt to silence her from talking about an alleged affair with President Trump. Cohen is under federal investigation for possible bank fraud, wire fraud, and campaign violations. As for President Trump, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the president believes he has the power to fire special counsel Robert Mueller. After accusing the U.S., Syria and Russia have now accused Israel of carrying out the chemical attack against a Syrian base Sunday, where Iranians were stationed and where at least 14 people died. Supposedly, this attack was to settle scores among world powers. Prior to this raid, Syrian President Assad allegedly launched a chemical raid on his own people in Damascus. Here, Syrian rebels began evacuating and even surrendering a deal that would restore President Assad's government power over this area for the first time in 6 years. President Trump warned Syrian President Assad that he would pay a big price for his military's alleged use of poison. Since his statement, President Trump has canceled his planned trip to South America to monitor the American response to Syria. And upwards of 2,600 people are expected to be on the grounds of Windsor Castle on May 19th for Britain's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's royal wedding. Presidents and prime ministers are usually in attendance, but Kensington Palace announced that the royal couple would not be inviting political leaders. Among those not invited, President Trump and his wife Melania, former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle, not even British Prime Minister Theresa May.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been taking the heat for the data scandal engulfing the social network, and now he's answering to members of Congress. Zuckerberg is currently appearing before a joint session of the Senate Commerce and Judiciary Committees, and so far the CEO has claimed that he is open to regulation and is listening to the American public. Now, Facebook is reeling from the Cambridge Analytica scandal that shared millions of Facebook users' data with an analytics firm that worked with the Trump campaign. As the story unfolds, we will keep you updated on Zuckerberg's testimony on our Twitter at @newswatch_UM. Well, a TV host at a Sinclair Broadcast Group station has resigned and had his show canceled after a statement he made threatening to assault a Parkland shooting survivor. Jamie Allman hosted a nightly show on an ABC affiliate in St. Louis. A statement he posted on Twitter, which is too vulgar to show in full, drew harsh criticism and sparked the beginnings of an advertiser boycott after he tweeted that he was hanging out getting ready to assault shooting survivor David Hogg with a hot poker. The March 26th tweet has since been removed, but Allman's remarks represent another public relations crisis for Sinclair Broadcast, which is under criticism for the second time in recent weeks. Fox News host Laura Ingraham returned to her show Monday night after taking a week off in the midst of an advertising boycott over controversial remarks she made about a Parkland shooting survivor. The news host had taken to Twitter in March to mock 17-year-old David Hogg for not getting accepted to prestigious universities in California, to which the student responded by petitioning advertisers to pull ads from her show. After returning to her show, Ingraham responded to the boycotts by focusing on the First Amendment, claiming that the left is trying to stifle freedom from speech among conservatives. Ingraham tweeted an apology to Hogg, but the student did not accept it. Well, a former star of the TV show Silicon Valley is facing a federal charge that he allegedly called in a fake bomb threat from an Amtrak train, officials said Tuesday. According to the Department of Justice, T.J. Miller called a 911 dispatcher and reported that a female passenger aboard his train had a bomb in her bag. Officials searched the train and found no explosive devices. Now, the 36-year-old actor was then arrested Monday night at LaGuardia Airport in Queens, New York, and was released today on $100,000 bond. Officials added that Miller was intoxicated and had been involved in hostile exchanges with a woman on the train. Well, fans of the Harry Potter series are swooning over the new 20th anniversary edition covers. Almost 2 decades since J.K. Rowling published her famous book series, Scholastic revealed mesmerizing new book covers for the entire series to celebrate the milestone anniversary. The illustrations were created by artist Brian Selznick, and the 7 covers create a mural that connects a story of the beloved characters. The books featuring the new cover art will be available in stores nationwide on June 26th.
Today was so beautiful outside, I really hope it stays.
Me too, Alexandra. And Delia Vanderbilt will let us know in her extended forecast coming up if this wonderful weather is here to stay. Up next on Stormwatch.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Hey there, Oxford, and welcome back to Stormwatch. We are currently looking at a really sunny sky with a temperature of 65 degrees, some winds moving at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and a 0% chance of rain. As we take a look at the current satellite image, you can see it is clear in Oxford and the surrounding areas. Taking a look at the temperatures across the map, we can see that everyone's in the mid-60s with Oxford at 65, South Haven at 60, Holly Springs 64, Corinth at 67, and Tupelo at 66. For tomorrow, we will continue to see some warm, sunny temperatures with Oxford and Tupelo at 71 and everywhere else at 70. As for tonight, we can expect to see a low temperature of around 39 degrees. We will continue to see clear skies and there will be some light and variable winds. For tomorrow, we can expect a high of 71 with another beautiful sunny spring day, some temperatures moving at 5 to 10 miles per hour and a slight 10% chance of rain. As we take a look at the 5-day forecast, you can see that we will continue to see those sunny and warm skies Thursday and Friday, and then there does look to be a chance of thunderstorms on Sunday. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Delia. After a first series loss of the season, see what the Ole Miss baseball team has to do tonight could be a tough Southern Miss team.
And the women's tennis team was able to get a big accomplishment for the 13th week in a row. See what it was up next.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Regulations that were handed down from the NCAA in December of last year. While Ole Miss has all the power to complain that they think Patterson should not be able to start the season, NCAA is the only authority that has the power to make him sit out for a year. As of right now, Patterson is expected to be the starter for Michigan for the 2018 season. Heading down to Pearl, Mississippi, the Ole Miss baseball team will be taking on Southern Miss. Ole Miss took on the Golden Eagles earlier in the season where they won a thriller 7-6. It could be a potential high-scoring game as Southern Miss will have right-handed pitcher J.C. Keys on the mound. He's posting a 6.26 ERA on the season. As for the Rebels, they will have Houston Roth, who has yet to lose this season, but his ERA is relatively high at 4. Ole Miss leads the series all-time 75-50. As for our women's tennis team, they have jumped in the rankings as they are now 6th in the national ranking in the Oracle poll. This is the 13th week in a row that the Lady Rebs have been ranked in the top 25. The ranking comes after an impressive win over number 7 Georgia for the first time since 2010 and a win over the Tennessee Vols. The Lady Rebs have a couple days of rest before they head to Starkville to take on Mississippi State on Friday at 4 p.m. Well, after a game was postponed at Wrigley Field due to snowy conditions, it was a heartwarming moment as March Madness star Sister Jean threw out the first pitch for the Chicago Cubs. Sister Jean rose to the spotlight after Loyola Chicago's men's basketball team made it all the way to the Final Four before losing to Michigan. She was given a custom Cubs jersey with her name on the back and threw what announcers called a Sister Jean splitter. The Cubs went on to lose that game, however, 8-5. That's all for sports. Be sure to follow our Twitter at NewsWatch_UM to see more of your favorite sports updates. Matthew and Alexandra, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Colin. Nashville natives Moon Taxi performed at the Lyric last week. Courtney Cam was able to hang out with them before the show.
Stay tuned for this week's edition of Revs and Celebs.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What A sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
What's up, Revs? We are back with Revs and Celebs, and today we have Moon Taxi with us. How are you guys?
Hey, what's up?
So it was just about a year ago, almost exactly, that you guys were back here playing at the Lyric, and you told us about a little song called Too High that was coming out soon.
Yep.
It kind of took over the radio a little bit.
That was before our lives were changed forever.
So tell us how this last year has been since you guys debuted that song.
It's been wonderful, and yeah, I can't even believe that that's been a year.
Yeah,
I mean, because we put out Too High early May.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Yep, Cinco de Mayo.
And I think you were here on like April 20th. And you taught us all the Too High.
Yep. And it caught on.
It caught on.
Yeah, since then we've toured the world. We got signed to a major label deal. It's looking up.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. Life-changing song. And I think it really resonates with people, and it still does. It was crazy. It was the fastest written song in the past record, on our new record, actually, Let the Record Play. We just have been so tickled pink by the reaction.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I heard it everywhere. And I mean, we loved it here when you guys played it. And then I remember hearing it on the radio, and I was like, whoa, I remember hearing that for the first time.
Yeah.
You guys jamming out in my car. Like you said, you guys just released your 5th album, Let the Record Play, with Too High on it. How has this album been different from past albums?
I don't think it's fundamentally different. You know, it's the same group of guys just trying to write better songs. Except now we have a major label deal, so I mean, it's getting the music out to like way more people than we could do on our own.
That's happening every day. I got a message from someone 2 days ago that's in Lithuania, a friend of mine from high school, that the song was on the radio at 5 o'clock in the morning in Lithuania.
Where were you guys when you first heard that song on the radio? Do you remember?
The first time I heard it was in my car, and I mean, I hear it 3 or 4 times a day in my car. Just
do you listen to it when it comes on, or do you change station?
I turn it up.
Okay.
All the way.
Turn it up and laugh really loud.
Yeah. So, last question. I know you get this a lot, but it's my favorite story. Tell us a story about how Moon Taxi came to be.
But I was trying to hail a cab, and we were in downtown Nashville leaving a bar. Could not get the cab to stop. So I just used whatever means I had necessary and pulled my pants down and mooned a taxi.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks.
Have a good show.
Thanks. Are we doing a game or no?
Yeah, but we'll get there.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Did I give that away?
That's okay.
They were as good as gold for you Moon Taxi fans.
Yeah, it's really great to see the Oxford music scene flourishing with those big talents. You know what else was good as gold? This weather yesterday and today. Is it going to be the same this coming week?
I mean, it is. The temperatures are actually warming up. They'll be around 70 tomorrow and then near 80 Thursday and Friday. Lots of sun.
Well, that's perfect for my birthday because it's this week, so that's
happy
awesome.
early birthday,
Thanks, guys, and thanks, Delia, for the weather update. That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Alexandra Morris.
Be sure to catch us here again on air at 5 and on our Facebook live stream. You can also find us on our hottytoddy.com. I'm Matthew Henley. Thank you and good night.